Welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 2637, and today's date is November 26, 2021, and the title of the episode is Central Bank Accelerates Their Plan, and it's about to hit a brick wall. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the deep state, the private Western central bank, the corrupt politicians, they are now proceeding forward, and they are accelerating their economic plan. Remember, you need to take a 40,000-foot view and see the entire plan. Their plan is not to make America great again. Their plan is not to reduce taxes, to fix the economic situation, to close the borders up and secure them, to protect the American people, to make sure the elections are on the up and up, to make sure that everyone is making a living, everyone has a job, there's no inflation. This is not part of their plan at all. It's actually the complete opposite. And to do everything but maintain the illusion, what needs to be done? They need to manipulate the statistical information, especially economic statistical information. And that's what they've been doing for a very long time. This is why a lot of the numbers don't make any sense whatsoever. Because to keep an illusionary system chugging along, making it seem like there's no inflation, making it seem like everyone has a job or there's not enough people to fill the jobs, you need to manipulate the data. And that's what they've been doing. We've been talking about this since 2014, 2015. And what's very interesting is that to Close TV, they put this out and it says, Justin, U.S. weekly jobless claims declined to lowest levels since 1969. Now, Donnie Darko responded to this and said, how can jobless claims be low when any federal agency or company that contracts with a federal agency is currently in the process of firing millions of U.S. employees? This doesn't make any sense. Of course it doesn't. Everything's manipulated. They're shaping the narrative, and they're trying to convince you, hey, even though all these jobs are being lost, we're still looking good here in the economy, which makes no sense whatsoever. And we've seen this many times before. Remember, their plan is to destroy the entire system that we are in today. Of course, in the process of doing this, they don't want anyone to realize that it is them who is actually destroying their own system. They need to blame it on something else. They need a cover story. But all of this has been stripped away from them. And now they're finding this a huge problem. And they're starting to accelerate their plan, which we'll be talking about in just a sec. But to prepare for all of this, they need foot soldiers to do their dirty work. And this is why they're creating the Build Back Better plan, which is actually destroy the U.S. economy and control the people. That's the translation of Build Back Better, because it has nothing to do with building back the economy here. It has to do with building back their plan, which Trump, the Patriots, pushed back in time, and now they're trying to catch up. They're way, way behind schedule. Trump removed a lot of their mechanism, a lot of their deals, a lot of their economic policies, and now they're in a little bit of trouble. But that doesn't mean they're not going to stop. That means they're going to continue on and they're going to accelerate their plan. Now, like we said before, there's a reason why they need the IRS. They need the IRS to keep control of the population, to keep them in fear. And this is why Biden's Build Back Better plan calls for IRS to conduct 1.2 million more audits every year. About half of those would be targeting individuals earning less than $75,000 annually. Think about what they're doing here. People are going to be afraid of being audited. They're going to what they're doing is they're trying to control the population as we move into this next economic system. This is their plan. Now, to bring us there, what do they have to do? They need to destroy this system. They tried doing this during Trump's presidency while he was in the White House. He's still the president. The resident is just in there so everyone can see their entire plan. They can see their economic plan. They can see everything very, very clearly because everything's out in the open. But while Trump was in the White House, what did they do? They started to raise rates. They started to taper. What did Trump do? He called them out on it. He says, no, this is something we should not do. This will destroy the economy, especially when all the other nations, they're doing the opposite. Why now would we start to raise rates and taper while all the other countries are pushing stimulus and lowering their rates to zero or negative? And then all of a sudden, the Federal Reserve started to reverse course. Trump called them out on it. But now, as we're moving forward, they know that they need to bring us into their new system. And the only way to bring us there is to control everything. How do you control the economy coming down? Well, you need to do certain things to bring it down. And first of all, you need to raise rates. You need to taper. Remember, this isn't a private wasn't central bank illusionary economy. Because once they start raising rates, things start to really fall apart. They know this. This is part of their plan. Now, remember, they told us we didn't have to worry about inflation. It was transitory. Now they're out there, and the minutes were released from the November meeting, the Fed November meeting, and members are concerned about inflation, and they're willing to tighten the policy should it continue to run hot. Now, think about this for a second. In the beginning of this year, Biden was out there, the private wasn't central bankers were out there, the Fed chairman was out there saying, hey, no, this is all transient. There's no inflation. All the economists and everyone else is telling us, no, you don't have to worry about that. Then we moved into the summer months, and what happened? Well, they said, oh, you know what? Yes, we see inflation, but it will disappear by the end of the year. And then all of a sudden we moved into the fall, and they said, okay, it's 2022. Now they're telling us that inflation might run hot. I mean, did anyone see this coming? Of course we all did. They're making the case. See, they didn't want anyone to realize what was really going on, especially the normies who are just out there listening to the fake news, maybe Fox or MSNBC, whatever news station that you're listening to. They're going to tell you what you think you should be hearing, not what's really happening. And we all knew that inflation was going to take off. Actually, Trump has been telling a lot of people that inflation was going to take off. And we're going to see a lot more taxes, too. It's not just for the wealthy. Because this was their plan, just like in 2008, 2009. They told us in 2008 they're not predicting any type of recession anytime soon. That was the beginning of the year. And then close to the end of the year, around August, September, all of a sudden everything started to fall apart. And we were in what? A recession. They told us in the beginning of this year, there's no inflation. It's transient, just going to disappear. Now here we are at the end of the year, and they're telling us, no, inflation might run hot, and we might have to raise rates and taper to control it. Remember, it's the opposite of what they're saying. Is it really about controlling the inflation? Or is it really about bringing down the system? It's really about bringing down the system. And this is the actual signal letting us know that they're prepared to do this in the year of 2022. They're going to begin to push their agenda. And you're going to see them raise rates. And you're going to see the economy, not right off the bat, but as they keep doing this and they taper, things will start to fall apart. And as soon as they hit that sweet spot, all of a sudden they're going to reverse course. And they're going to pretend that they had nothing to do with it whatsoever. Just like in 2005, 6, they raised the rates. Then all of a sudden they started to drop them. And they pretended that they had nothing to do with it. Remember, this is a controlled demolition of the economy. They're going to control the whole thing so they can force the people into begging the private Western Central Bank, the elites, please help us. We're suffering here. We need something different. And this is what they're on course to do. But I do believe the people are waking up and the people are realizing what their plan is. Because remember, SOWN Omarova, she is the nominee for the Treasury, for Biden's Treasury Department. And it seems that people are starting to realize what she's really about. Remember, she did a master's thesis on Marxist economics. She refused to turn it over. She also refused to say that she is no longer a communist. And we see that there are certain individuals in Congress that are questioning this nominee. And it seems that the private Western Central Bank, the elite, they're hitting a brick wall. 5 Senate Democrats, they already said they will not support Lenin Scholarship recipient SOWN Omarova to serve as comptroller of the currency, nuking her chances to serve as the country's bank regulator. I wonder why. So the central bank, the deep state players, the elite, they just hit a brick wall with their entire plan. They wanted her in there to move forward. Now, this doesn't mean that they're going to try to find someone else, which they will. But look what they did here. They tried to introduce this person, and the people said, whoa, wait, just a minute. This person is completely not what we want. She's talking about destroying everything, destroying the oil, gas industry, getting rid of the banking system, having a central bank digital currency, allowing the Fed to control it all, which means that it's controlled from the top. It's centralized, which means the Fed could shut you down if they don't like what you're saying. And who's going to stop them? Nobody. But the people in Congress, they said, okay, this is too much, too fast. This is not the person that we need. And it looks like they lost round one here. So right now they hit a brick wall, and they're going to have to figure something else out. But as they figure this out, the people are seeing exactly what direction they want to move in. And this is going to become harder and harder as time goes on to get someone in to destroy the entire system. And eventually what's going to happen, as we can already see, the people are already looking at the entire economic situation, and they're realizing that, yeah, the Biden administration, they're completely responsible for all of this. And as things get worse and worse and worse, which they will, the people, they're going to say, yes, it's Biden, the Biden administration, those people working in the Treasury, and then they're going to move their line of sight over to the Federal Reserve, because remember, their mandate is what? Full employment, no inflation. What is everyone going to see?